Hello, I'm Dr. Scott Wadier.
And I'm Tommy Welling, and you're listening to the Fasting for Life podcast.
This podcast is about using fasting as a tool to regain your health, achieve ultimate wellness, and live the life you truly deserve.
Each episode is a short conversation on a single topic with immediate actionable steps. We cover everything from fat loss and health and wellness to the science of lifestyle design.
We started Fasting for Life because of how fasting has transformed our lives, and we hope to share the tools that we have learned along the way. Hey everyone, welcome to the Fasting for Life podcast. My name is Dr. Scott Wadier. I am here with my good friend and colleague, Tommy Welling. Good evening to you, sir.
Hey, Scott, how's it going?
Going fantastic, my friend. We are deep in the weeds of creating customized plans for the Fasting for Life experience. Well, I should say you're deep in the weeds of creating customized plans.
I think you're in the weeds too. We're hacking it down with machetes out here in the jungle, I think.
Yeah, the jungle of fasting content. All right, that's
Absolutely.
Enough of that. So the event registration has closed and the early bird registration, has closed. So the event starts the 12th. So this Friday, we're going to be dropping our first video training in our private Facebook group. So we're really excited about this. We've been working on this for months. But really tonight, we wanted to dive into some threads of consistency that we're seeing in building those customized plans. And for everybody out there listening going, oh, great, they're talking about the program or the challenge that I'm not a part of. The plans that we're creating are going to be available to everyone. This is kind of like, I don't want to say it's the beta because we've been testing and putting together customized plans. Hell, you did this for me and put together my customized plan that got me the results I've gotten that got me here. So we've been doing the customized plans forever, but now we're figuring out how to actually do it more efficiently and really give everyone the support that they need for the success that they're looking for. So we're taking everybody through this live experience, which is 28 days, but this is going to be available to everybody coming in the near future. So tonight's episode is not going to be about that, but what it's going to be about is some of the threads that we've seen in terms of consistent responses to the questions that we've been asking. So we ask questions about, what your goals are, what's your experience, what's your results so far, try to get a good idea of how we can make this plan work long-term. And that's where we really kind of stand out in terms of the Fasting for Life method and why it works so well is that customization. So we want to go through those consistent threads that we see and just kind of talk about them because if we have a sample size of 15 or 20 people, I'm not sure. I think we're almost up to 20 people in the challenge. And all the people that we've, helped up until this point. They're pretty glaring that it's the same things that people are dealing with, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So many common threads, histories with yo-yo dieting, histories with going up and down, histories with, having a little bit of success here and there and then seeing it creep back up. Just a few common threads that, surprisingly kind of encompass most people that will, end up taking an interest in this subject.
Yeah. One of the cool things about fasting is it's like, it's a intermittent fasting, IF it's very commonly recognized, right? Like a lot of people have heard about it, but not really sure what it is or how to do it. Right. So there's a lot of information out there. And the results that we get with people, it's really based on that customization of making sure that the plan fits into your life. So one of the ways that you can start fasting, intermittent, OMAD, alternate day, 5-2, warrior, right? Strong fast, water fast, right? There's all these different things. One of the ones that's pretty common is called an ADF or an alternate day fast. And what we've noticed is that people that alternate day fast don't tend to see, and I'm not saying there isn't someone out there that has had tremendous results with it, losing 30 out of the 60 pounds that they have to lose. But the alternate day fasting kind of sets you up for a couple of hiccups or a couple of speed bumps in terms of getting long-term results. In the fact that alternate day literally means you don't eat one day and then you eat the next.
Yeah, and most people will take that and basically eat whatever they want the next day. Not necessarily, well, hopefully not necessarily indulgent the next day, but not necessarily controlling eating windows, might not be controlling calories or carbohydrates, or it might just be kind of an open eating window, and that would be kind of your worst case scenario. Best case scenario would be a little bit more controlled, but most people are very strict. One day doing a full 24 hours, however the meal timing works out, and then the very next day just usually eating 3 meals, maybe plus snacks, kind of back to old habits, back to cultural norms, that kind of thing. And it's very easy to undo what you did the previous day like that.
Now, if you've got enough, weight to lose, like myself, 50 pounds, still got a little bit more to go. We'll talk about that in a different episode. And with alternate day, you'll get some results, but really it's the consistent timing of the break in between food that does it. So on a 24-hour fast, the following day, if you have those old indulgences or those old habits, then you're going to potentially overeat or eat more because it's like, oh yeah, today's my eating day, right? Just like when people work out to be fit or to lose weight, but then the research shows that you have a 200 to 500 calorie increase in the meal post working out. It's like, okay, hold on.
You worked up an appetite.
Right, you worked up an appetite. So the calories in, calories out model we'll talk about in a minute. But so if you're doing more of a consistent intermittent fast day to day, which is, the 16-8 window, or we recommend even getting more restrictive where you do a 1 meal a day if you've got a considerable amount of weight to lose or disease to reverse. You don't have that
the luxury.
You don't have that like almost ability to just enjoy that entire day off and kind of undo what you just did. When you do 1 meal a day, it's really hard to consume an entire day's worth of stuff day after day to undo what you just did through that 24 hours.
Right. You almost have to be deliberately trying to undo, a whole day's worth of fasting in 1 meal. You can do it, on a holiday or a celebration or something like that. It might happen where you would be kind of net neutral. But in most cases, especially with a little bit of deliberation, a little bit of planning for what you're going to eat during that 1 meal, you can easily maintain a really good calorie deficit, a really long period of time where your insulin levels got very, very low during those, nearly 24 hours before you brought any calories in and got your insulin levels back up again.
So if you're going to do alternate day, the recommendation would be really mindful of what you're taking in. And I am not a proponent of tracking and weighing every little thing that goes in your body, but it is easy to blow through 3,000 calories in a full day of eating if you haven't eaten the day before. I've done it against your guidance, Tommy. But so if you guys don't know the story of how I got into fasting, Tommy was a key component of that. Because not everybody is going to be joining us, this far along on the journey. We're going on 6 months of starting the podcast. So I always try to remember that now too, is like, man, we just keep talking about stuff and, going over research and new things and programs and, things we, see as people that struggling with and try to provide solutions and answers and value. And I forget that a lot of people might not know. But yeah, I did. History. Yeah, exactly. Like go back, listen to the original episodes. Hopefully, I think we're a lot better now than we were then. Like we just decided to step up and spread the important news that like there's a lot of people out there that were in the same place that we were in. So with alternate day, just like don't do what I did, which was just feel like you have a get out of jail free card. Like make sure you're consistent. Use an app, like track the basis of what you're consuming. And, in the beginning, you'll probably lose some of the weight, but when you plateau, that's when you really need to pay attention and be a little bit more strict on the alternate day.
Yeah, because, your body has different set points. Those set points are based on where your insulin, where your basal insulin needs are, how sensitive or resistant are you. So there's, wherever you're starting from, that's always going to be the easiest point. That's always going to be the point where you can you can make progress the fastest. So it's always going to slow a bit from there, and that's why we get really strategic. Coming towards the end, reaching that maintenance spot, the end, right before the finish line.
Yeah, and it's usually those last few pounds too. We've had really good success with some people with that too. Yeah, and I think a lot of this just goes back to the mindset. And this is something else that we heard in the feedback from the quizzes that we're putting out to build those customized plans, is that the mindset of like the whole calories in, calories out, like it's hard to break that. Like the 10,000 steps a day, we did a whole episode on that. I don't remember which one it was. But where there's really not a lot of science to back up the benefit from a health perspective. Like this isn't just about losing weight when we're talking about fasting. Like the fasting for life concept and idea was like, well, this is how to regain control and get your health back, right? The weight loss is like almost like a side benefit, but it's like, the cause and the effect all in one.
Yeah.
So that old mindset of calories in, calories out is just really hard to break for some people. And I know for me, I just needed to eventually just put down the app, like the tracking app, and just stay consistent.
Put it down. Just walk away from it. Walk away.
Right. That old, I'm going to burn. You tell the story, right, about the elliptical.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm just going to hop on the elliptical, just another 20, 30 minutes, maybe another hour and a half, especially if, I had pizza the previous night or something like that. Like, I'll just go burn it off. And then I just kind of watch the numbers tick up on the treadmill. But I didn't see them tick down on the scale necessarily. So it's not equally yoked. You can't just undo one with the other, especially when you have insulin resistance like that, and you're eating all throughout the day. The math just doesn't work out. The physiology doesn't work out, even if the math does.
Yeah, you're not getting enough time in between the insulin spike. And the interesting thing too is that, with technology, you get more data, right? But a lot of the technology has been shown, the ones that track the calories burned during a workout, to be anywhere from I don't remember, but we pulled a couple of research articles on this and dove into that in previous episodes. And I almost sound like a broken record, but it was way off, 30 to 70% or something just crazy, where it was an overestimation of what the body actually did. So if one of the principles that we live on is, keep it simple, like simplicity, simplify, because then that makes it easy to stick to, which is more difficult with your restrictive, omittive type diet plans. I don't even like using that word.
But they have to be complex.
Yeah, right. The calorie in, calorie out model is more complex than those things are taking are accounting for. So let's just simplify the equation, right? I'm not a big math person. As before this episode, we were talking about some math, and I literally had to write it out. I'm not a big math guy, but let's just simplify it, where staying consistent over time, you'll see the results. So alternate day, really just be careful with the ability on that second day to kind of go overboard. If you've kind of plateaued, shoot us a question. We can kind of dive in a little bit more and help you guide you through that. But really just breaking that old mindset is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah. And the alternate day, we're hearing more and more about it. It seems to be a really, really popular approach, because I think, it's simple and it doesn't always restrict. So you have that one day, and especially if you're taking it without any restrictions, it's just an open eating window, then that sounds nice. But you can kind of rubber band yo-yo back and forth between a really, really good 24-hour period and then just a completely undoing 24-hour period. And over time, you're just kind of hovering around the midline, not making any progress one way or another.
Yeah, right. So those are the few things we want to talk about in regards to kind of the consistency that we're seeing. And to be honest, ADF, alternate day, it's something that we've been seeing more recently. So I'm sure if we dive in and, like I love to do, is go get in nitty gritty in the research and what are the outcomes of the studies. But honestly, let's just keep it simple. Doing one meal a day over long periods of time, more consistent, and it decreases the chance of, being able to erase the benefit of the previous time period, right? We got to keep that timing. The timing is the key. So if you're doing ADF, just some food for thought. I guess that's a really interesting way to put it. But for tonight's episode, Tommy, what do you think is a good action step for people to be able to kind of move on from this? Or if you've got some final things you want to...
Yeah, I think an action step. So if you're doing ADF, alternate day fasting right now, and it's really working within your schedule, but you haven't been seeing the results that you've wanted to, then I encourage you, go on your eating day and really hone in, because what we see as the most common misconception when people are starting to fast is that they kind of need to make up for those lost calories because they're still worried about that boogeyman slowing their metabolism down. Right. So they're almost wanting to undo that previous fasted day so that they don't have to worry about their metabolism. Well, that's not going to be a concern. So on the day that you're eating, if you like how ADF goes into your schedule, then control that eating day. So shrink the eating window. You could do one meal a day on that day, or you could do maybe a 2 or 3 hour eating window. So if you haven't been seeing the results, then shrink it down, tighten it up, and then you'll probably see some momentum go from there.
And I love that you just removed the tracking portion of this. So thank you for, as always, landing the plane and simplifying it. Is if you're not seeing the results, then shrink the window, right?
Absolutely.
Extend the time. That's just so simple.
Yeah, that's always the key. So no matter if you're doing ADF or not, that's a great action step for you.
Yep. Love it. All right. Appreciate y'all for listening. If you have not yet, go to our website, www.thefastingforlife.com. Click on the button that says download the Fast Start Guide, and then that will get you our 6 steps to putting fasting into your day-to-day today. That comes with a free mini masterclass. So it's 20 minutes of deep dive video trainings where you get a login. You can go and use that with the Fast Start Guide to get going today. One of the things we've been saying a lot recently is the quicker you get a win, the easier it gets. So if you've been thinking about it, you've been on the fence, go to the website, download the Fast Start Guide. Give us a shout out if you have any questions. And Tommy, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Scott. See ya. So, you've heard today's episode, and you may be wondering, where do I start? Head on over to thefastingforlife.com and sign up for our newsletter, where you'll receive fasting tips and strategies to maximize results and fit fasting into your day-to-day life.
While you're there, download your free Fast Start Guide to get started today. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review, and we'll be back next week with another episode of Fasting for Life.